I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a radio announcer. I'm a high school football coach. And since I was old enough to stand on the side of a stream next to my dad, I've been an angler. I've fished with bait, lures, and flies. I've fished with spinning gear, fly rods, jigging poles, and tip-ups. I've stood on ice, waded rapids, and been tossed about the deck of a boat. And I want you to love fishing, be it freshwater or salt, heavy flows, high seas, or cutting through a foot of ice, as much as I do, no matter what the quarry, no matter the tactics, no matter the chosen tackle. Welcome to Yankee Fisherman. Good Thursday afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop, back at our 1 o'clock Thursday live time slot. And as we are live on this June 2nd, we have breaking fishing news, which I always enjoy being able to say. But two Connecticut men, one from Shelton, one from Berlin, have been arrested on forgery charges for possession of fishing licenses, which the DEEP says they illegally created, allegedly. They were patrolling for fishing enforcement along the Quinnipiac River in Meriden on April 18th, and an Encon police officer saw 47-year-old Bradford L. Benton of Shelton and 24-year-old Kelly N. Shemuth of Berlin both fishing. The officer approached, asked to see their fishing licenses, and the licenses they handed him did not look right. What the DEEP says is that neither man had purchased a 2016 license, and the documents that they gave the officer were similar in format to the 2011 licenses. They've changed in format since the computerization of the DEEP started. They started partially 2009, 2010 went all computerized, and we've all seen the new look in the licenses. But so these guys had old licenses that they allegedly somehow doctored. Both men surrendered yesterday, June 1st, at Troop A State Police Barracks in Southbury. They've been charged, and this is pretty serious stuff here: second-degree forgery, conspiracy to commit second-degree forgery, fishing without a license. Bond was $1,000 each. They are both due at State Superior Court in Meriden on June 14th. So Encon out there checking licenses, and they caught two guys trying to do something they shouldn't have done. Big bust up in Rhode Island, by the way, where they caught guys with 230 bass that they had illegally caught. That was big on Facebook a couple of days ago. Well, now that we're back live, we're going to do a show that I'd like to do every year. I like to do it around Memorial Day. We like to talk boating safety. And the Fairfield Police Department, and we were out there, got some great footage of it, had a safe boating day at South Benson Marina in Fairfield. We were able to catch up with some people there and talk about boating safety. Again. John Kovach, the HAN Network. We're with Jim Wiltsey of the Fairfield Police Marine Unit. About to become your busy time officer. Explain what the Marine Unit does.
Well, the town of Fairfield has operated and maintained a Marine Unit for over 50 years now. And one of our primary responsibilities is enforcement through education. And we remind boaters what they are required to have and what they should have on board for emergency and safety purposes.
Now, you can board a vessel at any time on the water?
That is correct. On the water, you are required to have things per state and Coast Guard regulations. So by us stopping you, we're checking for safety equipment to make sure you have enough life jackets on board for the amount of people you have. Marine unit officers do not need probable cause to stop you like a patrol officer would on the road with a motor vehicle stop. It's completely different on the water.
Now, you mentioned that you are allowed to stop a boat to make sure boaters have the equipment that they must have. What is it that they must have on the boat by law?
You must have a serviceable life jacket, one per person on board. By serviceable, I mean sometimes people buy life jackets and stow them below for many, many years and they become dry rotted. So serviceable means it must properly fit depending on the weight and size of the person. They make life jackets for infants all the way to larger people. You also need a throwable device. By that is a seat cover with a loop on it, or a throwable device is a ring buoy. So if someone were to fall overboard, you can throw them the device and they have some way of grabbing onto it. You must have a visual distress signal, i.e. a flare, which is this is actually a pretty fancy flare, a gun flare, or typically I describe them as a road flare to people that don't understand what a handheld flare is. It looks like a road flare.
These are what you would see at the scene of a road closure, a motor vehicle accident, similar to that.
That is correct. And those actually are one of our most useful tools. Many times when we get a distress call on a Saturday afternoon and there's 100 boats in our area of Fairfield, and you call because you broke down or you hit the rocks, and we go out and you tell us you're in a white boat, well, there's 100 other white boats out there. So chances are the Marine unit officer is going to ask you to pop a flare off. And most of the time, recreational boaters will have a handheld flare. We just identified you and took crucial minutes away from trying to search for you by shooting a flare off. So it's a very useful tool for officers.
Now, there's a difference between the handheld flare and the flare that you would require a flare gun for, but they both have dates?
Correct. These flares sit on vessels that are obviously exposed to a lot of moisture. So you always want to check the date. This one was put into service in 2004 and expired in 2007. It will work, but I wouldn't trust it if I was out on the water with my family and I had an emergency. This is a cartridge that you would insert into a gun. This one expires in 2017. These are the cheaper ones, the ones that pretty much everybody has on their boats, recreational boaters. It's just like a road flare. You take the cap off. There's a little piece of, this is sandpaper type material that does disintegrate over time.
This is really not dissimilar to a match.
Correct. And you just put it away from you. And this, like I said, there we go. It took 3 times, but.
And that's why they expire.
This stuff is, yeah, it's already broken down. So if it was an emergency and I was sinking, you want to make sure that you have equipment on board. Like we said, we're going to come out there and save you or rescue you. I'm going to tell you to hold one of these out so I can distinguish your boat from the other 100 boats that are out there.
How far is that visible when you're out on the water if you're searching for a boat?
Well, it's 700 candle power, and it really depends on the conditions. Fog, rain, it depends on the visibility, but if you're out by the lighthouse, which is 1 nautical mile away, and we're standing here on the beach, I'm going to see this.
And you can see why you strike it away from you.
Correct. The other requirements are an audible device.
We've all heard those.
Doesn't have to be a horn, but it has to be, well, depending on the size of your vessel, you're required to have a horn. Smaller vessels or kayaks need to have a simple whistle, so that if someone's coming your way and they don't see you, you can make noise.
Now, fire extinguisher on a power boat?
Serviceable fire extinguisher. I said the word serviceable again because we live in Connecticut and you're using your boat 3-4 months a year. The rest of the time is sitting in the driveway or in storage. You have to make sure that the fire extinguisher, the little needle is in the green. Some of your lower fire extinguishers just has a little push pin, kind of like when the turkey's ready at Thanksgiving. If it's popped up, it's time to get a new fire extinguisher. They will lose pressure over many years.
Now, there's also equipment that you recommend that boaters have.
Everyone relies on these. Everyone's faces are glued to these. But when you get out in the middle of the sound, these are not reliable. Out in the middle of the sound, you have Connecticut cell phone signals and New York cell phone signals fighting for each other.
And those cell phone signals go to the nearest tower.
Correct.
So you could have your distress call out of Fairfield go to Long Island.
If you're out far enough off of Fairfield waters, 3 nautical miles off our lighthouse, and you call 911, there could be a chance that a Long Island cell phone tower picks that up. Now you're getting hooked into Long Island emergency dispatchers. Then Long Island has to call Connecticut and figure out where you are and try. You can get a handheld VHF for under $100 at a marine supply store. They last a long time, they're waterproof, and you call on channel 16, the Coast Guard's going to hear it, Marine units are going to hear it, fire department's going to hear it, New York is going to hear it. These are a lot more reliable than your cell phone. So for under $100, these are good to have on board.
So really, while it's extensive and it covers all the bases, it's really not all that much that you're forced to carry.
No, absolutely not. We recommend these to all of our boaters. You know, these cell phones, the battery dies, you don't always have a signal. So this is your backup. If you have to call for help and this doesn't work, that'll work.
Jim Wilt. Now, Officer Wiltsey stressed the importance of having the radio, and this comes not long after they almost had a real disaster off of Fairfield, where 3 college girls on May 9th got out to sea in a rowboat. There's a photo from the Fairfield Fire Department once they finally got them back to shore. The only thing they had was a cell phone. They somehow were able to get contact with the Connecticut side. There was a massive search. They couldn't paddle back. They didn't have life jackets. They didn't have a radio or a flare. And fortune was on their side that day, and the police and fire departments found and got them back to shore safely. So a real example there of how important it is to have that radio, have the right equipment. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the certifications that you need to operate a boat on Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop on the HAN Network. Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Mosquitoes, ticks, gone. Guaranteed. That's what Mosquito Squad guarantees as America's most trusted mosquito and tick control company. Locally owned and operated, over 90,000 homes have been protected by Mosquito Squad using their dual protection method for season-long protection, which includes barrier spray service for eliminating mosquitoes and adult ticks, as well as supplemental programs to increase tick control. They use only USDA organic options, which are safe and non-toxic. Contact them today at www.squadctny.com or 203-893-4309. Mosquito Squad. No bugs, no bites, no kidding.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 1 million people have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment programming since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop, this Thursday, June 2nd. We're going to continue on our safe boating theme here. Thanks to Jim Wiltsey, Officer Jim Wiltsey from the Fairfield Police Marine Unit, for taking a few minutes at Fairfield Safe Boating Day. There were some other agencies there that talked to us about the certifications that you need, the information that's available, and the courses that you can take and should take if you're going to operate a boat. John Kovach with the HAN Network. We're with Carl Cook. He's a boating instructor with the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Carl, what are the state regulations that boaters need to know?
Well, the big thing right now is the safe water skiing endorsement that is required. You do need a safe boating certificate or a personal watercraft certificate to operate a boat in Connecticut, or a personal watercraft. But we're trying to make people aware of the new water skiing endorsement requirement, which is part of the course this year. And it does give you some good information about being able to pull water skiers, tubers, wakeboarders, anything where you're towing someone behind the boat. We want to make people aware that there is a big safety concern here, and that just awareness is a big thing to be able to safely pull a water skier or a tuber.
The danger there is the tube or the water skier swinging around.
Yes, when a boat pulls a tube, the person on the tube has no control whatsoever. The boat controls the tube, and of course, if the boat operator needs to pay attention to, how they're operating the vessel, so that when the tube does swing around, they don't put the person in danger. They are required to have an observer, at least 12 years of age, sitting facing the person being pulled, and they relay the information to the operator as to speed and things like that, that the skier uses hand signals with. And we're just trying, like I said, we're trying to make people aware that, to be safe when they're out there.
And I want to just make sure that we spell a couple of things out here. And one is, you require the safe boating endorsement, whether you are in a power boat or a personal watercraft like a kayak, because we now have seen a real boom in the number of kayaks. You need to be certified to be out there in that?
Well, not in a kayak, but on personal watercraft.
The power
or a
personal,
boat.
okay.
Yes.
So your personal watercraft, you mean a jet ski,
Yes, wave runner, or a similar device. The operator that's pulling a skier has to be at least 16 years of age on either one. On a personal watercraft, it has to be at least a 3-person machine. The rope has to be no more than 100 feet long, and it has to be of the right tension to pull the tube with the person on it. And if someone does not have the endorsement, then they can go online to the Connecticut DEEP website, and they can go to the water ski endorsement. They can look up water ski endorsement, and there's a little course online that they can take to get their endorsement if they're from like another state, if they're from like New York or Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and they don't have a water skiing endorsement, they can go online to the Connecticut DEEP website and take the course online, and then they can get their endorsement for the certificate.
What other rules of the road for the water should boaters be aware of?
Well, there's a lot of rules of the road that they do need to be aware of. They need to pay attention to the weather, people in the water, water sport activities, those engaged in water sporting activities, along with, pretty much everything else that the Coast Guard or the state of Connecticut does require you to get for a safe boating certificate. Minimum 8-hour program, that you can take. They do have them in different areas of the state. You can again go onto the state DEEP website and check where those courses are available and how to sign up for them.
And the laws on the water enforced by the local police departments?
They're enforced by the local police. They're enforced by the Connecticut DEEP. They are also lake authority officers, the Coast Guard, the United States Coast Guard. So there are a lot of organizations that do, enforce the rules.
And one of the rules out there is similar to the DUI laws?
Yes, there is a DUI law that if your blood to alcohol content is 0.08 or higher, it is illegal for you to operate a boat or engage in water skiing activities. So those rules do apply on the water also.
Carl Cook from the DEEP, thanks for explaining some of the rules and requirements for boating.
Thank you.
John Kovach, the HAN Network. We're with Donald Peterson of the Penfield Power Squadron. We are at the South Benson Marina in Fairfield. Safe Boating Day. We're getting ready for Memorial Day this summer. Tell us what the Power Squadron does.
Hi, again, Don Peterson from the Penfield Sail and Power Squadron. We're part of the national organization, the United States Power Squadron, which was formed in 1914, so we're on our second century of teaching safe boating and practicing safe boating. We're here today to talk about some new Connecticut legislation that was passed in 2015 related to new rules and regulations for people that pull water skiers and people on tubes. Part of this legislation was passed in reaction to some serious accidents that occurred in the state of Connecticut in 2014 and 2015. The United States Power Squadron is nationwide, has over 30,000 members, and we teach a variety of classes starting from your basic boating classes to in Connecticut, which is required to get a safe boating certificate, all the way up through celestial navigation. So our aim is to promote safe boating through the way we practice boating and the way we teach our boating classes. If you are interested in a safe boating organization, I urge you to look at our national website, which is usps.org, where you can find out more about our squadrons and the classes that we offer.
How does one go about joining a local sail and power squadron?
If you go to that website, you can put in your zip code and it will tell you the squadrons that are close to your neighborhood. Penfield is located in Fairfield. We also cover the coastal towns of Stratford and Bridgeport. Westport, Norwalk, Stamford, Darien all have squadrons that cover this part of southwestern Connecticut.
What would be some of the more important things that you would recommend to somebody just getting started as a boater?
Certainly, to take the basic boating courses, we offer the 8-hour class, which if you pass the state test, qualifies you for your state license, and then recommend you take other classes for seamanship and piloting, which will tell you how to chart courses and use electronic equipment such as GPS and radar. Certainly, it's good to join a power squadron in your area because there's a lot of local knowledge. For example, I've been at South Benson Marina since 1995, and other members are very familiar with Black Rock Harbor, Southport Harbor, and the other boating areas in southwestern Fairfield County.
Local knowledge is important, particularly in the Sound. I know right off Fairfield there's a couple of places where you can get in trouble if the tide is wrong and you don't realize where you are.
Well, that's really true, is that our name, Penfield, comes from the Penfield Lighthouse and the Penfield Reef, and so it's not unusual that somebody will try and cut on the inside of the lighthouse and hit the reef. So we teach the local knowledge is, in addition to knowing the buoy system and where it's safe to take your boat depending on how much water it draws. We also have local knowledge about marinas and pump out stations where you can get service for your boat, or if you just wanted to come and have a nice meal at one of the waterside restaurants.
Donald Peterson and Penfield Power Squadron, thanks for joining us on the HAN Network.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back to wrap up Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop. Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well, bank smart, bank local, bank well. With the 24-month Bank Well Smart CD, you can earn 1.35% APY and raise your rate and add to your CD.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop on the HAN Network. Stay tuned, 2 o'clock, HAN Arts and Leisure. They're going to talk about movies, fun things to do around Connecticut in the summer. 5 o'clock this afternoon, Greenwich at Ridgefield Girls Lacrosse in the state tournament. A couple of fishing notes to wrap up the show. Deerfield River Spay and Fly Fishing Day is going to be held Saturday, June 4th. That is at the Zor Picnic Area on Zor Road in Charlemont, Massachusetts. Single-handed, two-handed switch and spay casting demos, free barbecue demonstrations, raffles, auctions, all kinds of great events. Walt Garrick, the driving force behind this. It benefits Real Recovery, a national nonprofit that conducts free fly fishing retreats for men living with all forms of cancer. The Connecticut DEEP just this week wrapped up its channel catfish stocking for the year. 24 bodies of water received almost 16,000 fish. This is the 10th year that they have done that. We're going to be back next week with another episode of Yankee Fisherman. We're going to be talking a little bit about saltwater. We're going to get ready for the TU Northeast Regional, which is next weekend in New Hampshire. Until then, get out on the water and be safe. Tight lines.